Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar today regarding BankTalentHQ and our micro-internship program at Parker Dewey. My name is Brian Hoffman. I'm president of BankTalentHQ, a nationwide career center for the financial services industry that has partnered with 33 state banking associations. And just last month, we announced our newest partnership with the American Bankers Association. Our goal is to bring quality talent to our financial institutions across the country. And we all know that hiring quality talent is extremely difficult right now, from experienced workers to recent grads. How do we start to fill that pipeline of talent into our institutions? So many of us are aware of the concept of internships, but probably never heard of micro-internships. So I met Geoffrey a little over a year ago, and I was amazed at the concept he's created and was excited to partner with him to bring Parker Dewey and the concept of micro-internships to the financial services space and BankTalentHQ. What I'm also excited about is that the concept can work for banks of all sizes. No matter how big or small you are, you can use micro-internships to recruit to your organization and at the same time help to complete projects at your institution. So as Geoffrey said, please use the chat for any questions that you have. We'll monitor those during the session. But with that, please help me welcome my friend Geoffrey Moss, who's founder and CEO of Parker Dewey.
Thanks so much, Brian. Good morning or afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to be here, truly honored. So I'm Geoffrey, founded Parker Dewey about 7 years ago. And by way of background, I actually spent my career before launching Parker Dewey in financial services. So a lot of what we're going to discuss today actually comes from some of my own experiences in the space and understanding how this micro-internship model works within the financial services and banking sector. So real quickly, what is Parker Dewey? We've essentially created a micro-internship platform that helps organizations of all sizes improve campus recruiting outcomes, drive diversity, improve other hiring outcomes. But one of the things that makes it especially powerful and effective is it provides an on-demand resource for every busy professional at organizations. And this is not a newfangled thing that was created because of COVID. This is something that we invented or pioneered about 7 years ago. And since then, Parker Dewey has executed thousands and thousands of micro-internships in partnerships with thousands of companies, including many within the financial services space, but also with universities across the US. Students from four-year institutions that know they want to go into banking, but also for students at institutions where they might not be traditional recruiting hotbeds for financial services, or students who think that working at a bank means they're just going to be a teller. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they don't realize there's opportunities in marketing or strategy or sales or any of those other departments, or students who want to return home from graduation, but don't necessarily recognize that there's opportunities to do so. Yeah, it's a great way to reach students across all of those schools. And then we're also proud of the nonprofits with whom we've partnered, including nonprofits like the Illinois Bankers Association, but also organizations like the DeBruce Foundation in Kansas, or UNCF Career Pathways Initiative, providing equitable pathways for students at the HBCUs, or the Dell Scholars, who are all first-gen students. So as Brian mentioned, even though micro-internships have been around about 7 years, for a lot of individuals and organizations, they may not have heard of them before. So let's talk real quickly about what is a micro-internship. The way we define micro-internships is short-term, paid, professional projects completed by college students or recent grads on behalf of busy professionals. And just to unpack that a bit, short-term meaning these are projects that would take an individual 5, 10, 20 hours to complete, not per day or per week, but in total. And they're due a few days to a few weeks out. So don't think about projects that you want someone to do over winter break next year, or things that you need done in September, October. Think about all of those 5, 10, 20-hour projects that you have on your own plate. We call them the we shoulds or I shouldn'ts. Hey, we should have someone write a quick article on a given topic. We should have someone interview our existing employees to talk about various things they've seen. We should go find out what local companies in our market may have raised venture capital, but aren't yet clients of ours. But they may not be the best use of time for an existing professional, or there's not enough hours in the day, Micro-internships let you give those short-term, low-risk, quick projects to highly motivated college students and recent grads. Again, it's a great way to get support, but also to engage and assess individuals who could be future hires. And again, for those questioning whether or not these opportunities exist within banking, here's some real examples of micro-internships that have been done through this amazing partnership with BankTalentHQ. Again, lead generation. Think about all of the folks, whether it's in wealth management or lending or any of the other departments, they're trying to generate new leads, trying to find, again, companies or individuals that may have recently sold their businesses or announced expansion. Well, again, you can have college students go do that research and they're not being given access to anything sensitive. Or recruiting support. We're going to give you a job description, something we published publicly on our website. Let's have a college student crawl through LinkedIn and other sources to help us find candidates for that full-time role. Again, great real projects. Some other facts about micro-internships, and again, feel free to ask questions along the way in the chat. As I said, they tend to be about 10 to 40 hours and they're due a few days to a few weeks out. Companies set the price for each micro-internship and it's a fixed fee. Now it tends to shake out about 20, 25 bucks an hour implied. So we think this will take you about 20 hours to do. We'll pay you 400 bucks. You set the price. There's no back and forth negotiation. There's no bidding. So you're not stressed about, well, do I take the low cost offer or the high cost? Can make it really simple. And 90% of that goes into the pocket of the student that you select. And again, you get to pick who you want, and I'll show you how it all works. But 90% goes into their pocket. Parker Dewey retains 10%. And the reason we do it is it makes it easier for you. And what I mean by that is when you select a micro intern to work on your project, they're not your employee, they're not your contractor, your 1099, your freelancer, or anything else. They're on our books. They're our employee or contractor. So as the general counsel of one of the large global banks said, it's like when we go into Kinko's. The person making the copies for us is not our employee. We're not worried about FINRA. We're not giving them access to any of our systems. In fact, in the Kinko's example he shared, that individual probably has access to sensitive data. In this case, again, you're not giving them access to your systems. You're having them do research or other work where they can use public information. As I said, these are available year-round. So again, as these we should and I shouldn't projects come up, and they tend to be done remote. So even for a bank that might be based in St. Louis, what a great opportunity to engage a college student who's from St. Louis, who wants to return home when he or she graduates college, but goes to school where I did in Indiana or California or Boston. What a great way to engage that student and build the relationship as they work on that project remotely. And then maybe they are the right summer intern or full-time hire where they are going to be on site in the future. As I mentioned, it's also really easy. Not only are they not your employer contractor, they're all subject to NDA. Our NDA has some real teeth, and in 7 years of doing this, there have been 0 issues. The projects themselves are professional in nature. So again, think about those things you would give to a summer intern or a new hire without stressing about. And again, this complements everything you do. It doesn't replace your summer internship program. It doesn't replace full-time employees. Again, what's nice about it is it fits right in. It's a great way to engage and assess individuals who, again, could be those future hires. It's a way to build your brand with students who may not be considering roles in financial services, or those who are dying to get in, but might not be attending a quote unquote focus school, or students interested in HR or marketing or strategy and don't realize those roles exist in your industry. It's also a great way to assess the skills. Again, we've all interviewed people that seem great in the interview, and when they start, it's not the right fit. Their communication skills aren't there, their attention to detail, or any number of things. When these students do the micro-internships, you're getting an early look. You're getting to see how they do beyond what you can capture from a resume or interview. Do they have strong attention to detail? How are their communication and problem-solving skills? Again, think about it like an audition. Yeah, it's another great benefit. And what that does is it drives conversion as students and managers are building these relationships. And this isn't hypothetical. Over the past 7 years, we've captured data about this. What we have found is over 80% of students who complete micro-internships come from underrepresented populations. So we're not saying 80% on our platform. We're not saying we're only open to 80% of those who are actually selected. So for organizations focused on driving sustainable diversity, equity, and inclusion, what a great opportunity. And in fact, for any of you that have employee resource groups or business resource groups, happy to share more about some very specific programs we're seeing with others in the financial services space and beyond that are harnessing their ERGs and BRGs. It also lowers the cost per hire. Now, even though students are being paid for their work and being paid fairly, what we found is for companies, it lowers the cost per hire anywhere from 40 to 80%. Because again, you're not spending infinite amounts of money going and visiting all of these campuses and paying premiums to get your resume or your job posting at the top of some list. The money's going into students' pockets. But what it also does is you're building the relationships with students who are going to apply for that full-time role and getting to see them in action, which leads to better conversion and also better retention. Less than 2% of students who do micro-internships leave their first job within the first 2 years when they accept a full-time position. Just think about that, compared to the fact that 55% of recent college grads leave their first job within the first year. So companies are spending 4, 5, 6 grand to hire someone, and 55% of them leave. With micro-internships, they can cut that cost, again, 40 to 80%, improve diversity, and by the way, drive better retention and performance. The reason this all works is because everyone benefits. Busy professionals appreciate the immediate support. For HR teams, you're not adding to their workload. You're not asking them to fill out a new form or do another kind of evaluation. You're giving them something they value. What a great way to get that extra set of hands on the project they don't have time to do. What a great way to help them give back. Maybe they went to a certain school or from a certain community. What a great opportunity to give back to a member of that community. University recruiters value the outcomes. Again, because they're building relationships with students, whether it's freshmen or sophomores when they're still in that exploration phase, or juniors and seniors who are looking for that right summer internship and full-time role. And they're building the relationships that lead to better conversion to summer internships and full-time roles and better retention and other outcomes. And then obviously the students value the outcomes. Beyond the pay, though all of these projects are paid and paid fairly, which ensures everyone has access to them as opposed to unpaid work, students appreciate the opportunity to learn about different industries, to build relationships, to demonstrate their skills. And again, we hear it from students time and time and time again. We're hearing from companies and students that helps them find candidates who weren't considering the industry, or providing students with pathways in that may not have otherwise been available to them. So how does it all work? Brian, anything I missed first before we go into sort of the tactics of how this all works?
Nope, doing great. Thanks, Jeffrey.
Awesome. Well, one of the things, and again, the benefit of being sort of associated with BankTalentHQ is you have access to this neat little portal. And using this neat little portal, one of the things that we did was created some featured projects that we know people in the banking industry have. Whether you're in wealth management or origination, you need help with lead generation or prospect research. Whether you're in the finance or HR department, you need help with data cleansing, or accounting needing help pulling out KPIs, or HR trying to, again, find leads or update job descriptions. We've tried to create some examples. And again, these are just a few examples. They're not meant to be everything. Again, we have a more comprehensive library, but we tried to come up with some of the most common ones. So let's say someone at one of your banks needs help finding leads. With a single click, that project is pre-crafted for the individual. Here's a lead generation project. We want you to find 25 companies in the defined market. You can go update that as well. So 25 companies located in Columbus, Ohio area that fall under an ideal customer profile, including whatever they want to do. They can go through and change. Instead of 25, maybe they want 50. Again, easy enough to add. We have an estimated number of hours. And again, this is just an estimate. You're not locked to this. It's not hourly. What we're trying to do is give both you and the student some idea of what's expected. So yeah, we think it'll take about 20 hours. Or you might look at it and say, it's 50 companies, maybe it's half hour per company, maybe it's 25 hours. And we normally pay our interns $20 an hour, we're gonna pay $500. Really simple. You put in the start date and due date. I need someone to start working on this tomorrow, and I need it by next week. Again, this has a time commitment. Great. You can limit it to certain schools or affiliations. Again, we suggest not doing that, but you certainly have that opportunity, and I'll show you more how you can filter later. You can put in where your organization's located. So we're located in Columbus, Ohio. The project is remote. You can change if they need to be on site. You can certainly give them that option. Again, we suggest the project is remote. You can put in any skills required, etc. You can also have multiple students doing this. So we want to have 3 students do this project because this is going to give us 150 leads. So we're going to pay $500 for each of the 3 students to do, and we're going to get 150 leads. But we're also going to get to build relationships with 3 students who may not have thought about applying to our company, or we may have filtered out, and we get to see them in action. You hit save. You can ask any questions you want. Every project has at least this one. Why should we select you for the opportunity? Yeah, I'll show you more about why we ask that in a minute. You can ask other questions. How would you approach this project? Or should there be interest in a full-time role in Columbus, Ohio upon graduation? Would you be interested? You can ask whatever questions you want, and you simply hit post. Your project is now posted. You can go through, you can edit, you can revise. Let's say you change your mind. You can simply cancel the project. Or let's say the project is now up there. What happens next? Well, the students see the description of the project, and this is one I'll show you just for demonstration purposes, but we had posted last November. This project is done, but again, we left it up for this purpose. Here's a project we had. We needed students to help with the student engagement strategy, the start date, the due date, the payment amount we're paying. And if you remember, we said students get 90%. So we put this project in at $250. The students saw, again, the description of the project, and they saw it at 90% of that. That way, there's no surprise. If the student's interested, they apply. If not, they don't. And this is going out to literally hundreds of thousands of students across the US, students from every academic background, university, major, matriculation, etc., which is great because, again, you can then decide which students most interest you and focus on specific populations. So for instance, when we posted this project, we were interested in a couple of geographies, and we got to engage students from those geographies. So here's Adisa Green. She goes to Florida A&M. She's a pharmacy major. Well, gosh, we never thought about recruiting a pharmacy major for this role, but that's a really thoughtful answer. Again, remember we asked those questions? This is the benefit of asking questions like this. You get to see that the student who may be from a major that you haven't historically recruited at sort of has great insights and is a great fit. Or maybe you're a bank with a presence in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, here's a great way to engage a student whose hometown is Tulsa, who wants to return home. And again, behind the scenes, we can do some things to help you specifically engage students from specific populations. But you get to pick. And again, here's Abby, great example of a student that we may not have been thinking about because she's elementary education, but has a really thoughtful answer. And in comparison, there's also students with incredible resumes and incredible work experiences, but these short answer questions tell you a lot. Is this really a great answer, especially compared to some of the others? Or for an industry like banking where attention to detail is so important, do you want someone that had a typo in their answer or was missing a space? That sends a pretty good signal. So again, you get to pick who you want. You can obviously send them a message and say, hey, Ariel, I'd love to learn more about you, or let's schedule a quick 5-minute call. But 9 times out of 10, the hiring manager will simply click this button and select the student. At that point, you can engage with the student as much as you would like. You can have phone calls, emails, whatever's easiest for you. The entire Parker Dewey team is here behind the scenes to help. But again, you control that engagement. When the micro internship is done, Simply let us know and we handle all of the payment. Again, we're making it really, really easy. So how do you actually start this for those in financial services? Well, there's two basic ways. One is individual projects. Anyone on this call, anyone at any of your institutions can go and post an individual project. Think about the tasks you have on your own plate, those we shoulds or I shouldn'ts. Think about the people coming to you, whether they're on your teams or from other teams saying, oh, I have so much on my plate, I can't get to it. Or I wish we had a summer intern this year, but we weren't able to get one, or they reneged, or any number of other things. Let them know it's out there. Again, we'll share the link in the chat for the Bank Talent portal. And again, that's just a small sample of projects. Happy to share other examples, or you can always create one from scratch. You also set the price. Again, we make recommendations, but there's no back and forth bidding or negotiation between you and the student. Average micro internship tends to be between $200 and $600. And again, it's available on demand year round. You don't have to make any decisions now. It's as these projects come up. The second way to do this is really through a program, and through the work with BankTalentHQ, we have two versions. Think about micro internship programs as essentially a bundle. In the first case, it's 10. In the second case, it's 25 micro internships. The benefit of doing these bundles is you're getting additional resources. You're getting an internal portal. So just to show you an example, our friends at BMO, again, we don't share any client names unless clients talk about it, but folks at BMO have this internal portal that the HR team made this available for existing employees at BMO who can go and post their projects. So you get the benefit of that kind of a portal, making it easy. You're getting promoted to specific students and populations through our partnerships with the 500 plus colleges and universities. So if you're a financial services institution that's really focused on driving more diversity, we'll make sure your institution is front and center with students at Howard University or Florida A&M or any of the other HBCUs, or maybe you're a bank located in, again, Omaha, Nebraska. Let's make sure we're engaging students who don't just go to UNO, University of Nebraska, Omaha, but also students who might be attending a school in Boston or California, et cetera, who are from Nebraska and want to return home. So we're handling all of those types of promotion, if you will, to really target those student populations. And then we're also giving you feedback. One of the things we do is provide an impact report, which shows what was the impact of this program? How many students did you reach? What were the demographic outcomes? If you're an organization focused on diversity or getting to know students early, we can give you that data. Or maybe you're very focused on reaching seniors from a specific geography. Again, we're sharing all of that data along with feedback on how the students actually performed. That way you can prioritize your recruiting efforts. And ultimately what it does, it drives a competitive advantage for financial services organizations. It lets you get early access and reach students earlier. It lets you build your brand on campus, including students who may have heard of your brand, but have preconceived notions. It lets you assess candidates. It lets you support hiring managers and so many other things. With that, I am going to take a much needed breath. Brian, any things you want to add, or we can open up the Q&A or whatever's best.
I just want to add, one of the points that we see when we talk into banks and financial institutions, the question always comes up, I don't know what projects I have or what opportunities there are. And one of the things that Jeffrey and his team does such a great job of, and they already have pre-made projects, like he said. So there's a lot of projects they've already created. They've worked with banks, financial institutions, other companies. It's amazing they've already got kind of a library. So they can help you start with projects, but you'd be amazing as you talk to other people in your institution, what projects there are available. So don't always be scared that there's maybe not enough projects at your institution. There's plenty of projects that they'll be able to help you find. And it's amazing how you can help get college students to help with those projects.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up, Brian. Again, one of the things I shared, and this is, again, a mock-up we did, but we'll do this for real companies, but Dunder Mifflin Paper Company has projects across some of these departments. And what's great is if you're in human resources, here are, for instance, 8 projects that are the most common we've seen across HR. Again, you're not limited to those. And we have a library behind the scenes of thousands of these we've done over the years. Chances are, if you have one of these we should or I should in projects, chances are we've seen it. But again, we've tried to make it easy. So those are some projects in human resources, which are very different than the projects in finance. Things like account receivable aging or monitoring payment trends or client account reviews, et cetera. So again, we've been doing this a long time, and it makes it really, really easy, to Brian's point. The other thing, and again, I'll bring this up just since I know diversity, equity, and inclusion is so top of mind for financial services as everyone's trying to create more equitable pathways. As I alluded to before, we've been doing a ton with financial services institutions and more broadly around ERGs and BRGs. So for any financial institutions that have these employee resource groups, we're seeing them provide micro-internships as a perk to the members. So as a member of BMO's employee resource group, here's a great opportunity to get some support on a small project you have. And not only does that allow the members of the ERGs and BRGs to view it as a perk, but they also see these institutions are making a real authentic drive to create more equitable pathways. It goes beyond just wearing the t-shirts or hosting the events. This is those organizations demonstrating that they're trying to create more pathways for individuals from different backgrounds, from diverse backgrounds, into those organizations. So not only do the existing employees like it, but the recruiting teams love it, because now they're starting to build relationships, again, real authentic relationships with individuals who could be future interns and new hires. And those relationships are authentic in that they go beyond just the campus recruiting professionals. They go beyond the super days. That when Jeff, the student at a certain school, is doing a project for a busy professional from a similar background or school, they can start to visualize themselves at the company. They can start to see that the company's focus on diversity is more than lip service, which again leads to better outcomes for everyone. What other questions do we have? I see Kristen's been busy in the chat.
Yeah, I think one question that might be helpful to address live is around converting micro-interns to full-time roles. So if that can be addressed.
Sure. Look, the goal of Parker Dewey, I'll say a little directly, is to get the students off the platform. This isn't like the gig economy sites where we're trying to keep people forever. This is something that we want the students to get off. And it's not that we don't want them. We want them to land the summer internship in the full-time role and be wildly successful in their career. Because guess what? There's millions of students who are starting college again next fall. So one of the things we've done, and I alluded to before, is there isn't and there never will be any kind of temp to perm fee. So if Brian at the bank works with Jeff, the college student, on a project, and Jeff is amazing, and Brian decides that, hey, we want to hire him for a summer internship or full-time role, great. Go ahead and hire me. You don't owe Parker Dewey or the school or the student or anyone else additional money. We want this to be that pathway to full-time employment, which is why one of the things we've seen is 96.1% of students who complete micro-internships are professionally employed upon graduation. That's one of the things I'm most proud of, 96%, because it's leading to better outcomes. It's helping them build that experience. It's helping that organization discover someone they may have missed or build a relationship with a student who may not have been otherwise applying. Or it also helps the student realize if it's not the right fit. Maybe I'm a college student who thinks I want to be an investment banker, and I go and do a project for Goldman Sachs and realize, ooh, maybe investment banking is not the right fit for me. Well, guess what? That's okay too. Because now those firms, again, you're not spending the time and effort onboarding and training only for the student to realize 6 months later the fit's not right. So again, this provides that great way for both sides to build those relationships and do those types of mutual auditions, for lack of a better term.
I'll add to that, Jeffrey, too. I think that the great piece of this too is on the student side to get that experience, as you always say, is to put that experience on the resume, real world experience. Just talking to a banker last week who's using this micro internship program at their bank, and one of their HR people has a college daughter who plays softball and doesn't have time for an internship, but she got her into the micro internship platform so she can do these micro internships because she doesn't have time doing softball, but she can now do these projects and get that real world experience. So there's opportunities there on that side that students they're great candidates for you, but they don't have that time to go work or do a full-time internship, but they could do these projects. And you might not get those opportunities to get in front of those great students that understand teamwork, all those type of things for being on a sports team, but here's a new opportunity for them.
No, and I'm happy you brought that up. It's also one of the reasons why all of these projects are paid and paid fairly. Because again, there's a lot of efforts out there that are trying to expand access and expand reach and go beyond focus schools, but they're asking students to go do 5, 10, 20 hours of unpaid work. And the reality is for a lot of college students today, especially those from populations underrepresented in the workforce, is they can't make that investment. Certainly not as they're exploring a variety of different companies, because they're being forced to make that choice. Am I going to have to do free work or am I going to eat? Because again, they're doing things, they have side jobs, DoorDash or Uber, or working part-time. The fact that the micro-internships are paid and paid fairly allow all students from all backgrounds to participate. Another thing to think about, and again, we get this question a lot, is how do I introduce this within my organization? Again, I alluded to a couple of things before. Think about the projects you have on your own plate. All of those 5, 10, 20-hour projects. I know we all have them. Fortunately, I have fewer than most because I use micro interns. Even 7 years later, I'm still using micro interns. Kristen on my team uses micro interns. Our entire team is leveraging micro internships as we go. And not only is it helping us get that quick support, but we actually hire new employees that we meet through micro internships. So we eat our own cooking. But some other groups to think about the teams that are hiring, the ones that always have open roles, the professionals that always have these needs. And again, it's tough to fill the roles, or there's massive turnover, again, because of the great resignation or otherwise. Think about the employee resource groups. Even think about university alumni and fans. So the person who's in your office that always wears, and again, I'll make fun of my own alma mater, the Indiana Hoosiers baseball cap or t-shirt. What a great opportunity to support IU, to give students at IU these quick little projects to get some help. And not only does that manager appreciate the perk, but they love the idea of giving back to their alma mater. We got a question, how can a student enroll in this to do micro internships? They simply go on to the Parker Dewey site. There's no cost or obligations to the students. And again, I want to make that perfectly clear. We are a mission-driven organization first and foremost. Just like Illinois Bankers and BankTalentHQ, we are mission-driven. We are trying to create equitable pathways for college students to launch their career. What that means is this isn't something where students are paying us. There is no cost to the student. There's no obligation. Guess what? The universities aren't paying us either. The only revenue we generate is from these micro internships and the programs, which is break even. Again, as a mission-driven organization, that is our goal. We want to be an open, equitable, fair platform. And again, fortunately, we've been able to do that. How do students find out about this organization? Do we target colleges? We actually don't do any proactive outreach to colleges anymore. Other than our first 3 partners back in 2015, we haven't done any outreach. It's all been inbound. And we love that. We love the fact that colleges are hearing about it from the students, from employers, from alumni, from parents, from other colleges, and looking to partner with us. Now, to be clear, we work with students from over 5,000 post-secondary institutions across the US, including community colleges, 4-year schools, boot camps, other non-traditional programs, et cetera. And we're really proud of that because we've been an open platform from day one. Our view is any college student or recent grad, any career launcher, as we call them, who wants to participate in micro internships has that opportunity. They're not limited based upon where they go to school or who their professor is or anything else. So we are open. Now, that said, when schools want to partner with us, we love it. And we're thrilled to do so. And we're really proud of those partnerships. Again, I look at some of the work we do with Howard University. And one of the things that we do with Howard is we're able to feature and highlight to their students some of these companies that are offering micro internships. And again, if you think about all of the challenge for those of you in campus recruiting who are on the call, think about all of the challenges. How do we get kids to apply, or they're not showing up to our career fair, or They know Lenovo is a computer company, but they're not thinking about us unless they're computer science. How do you engage them? Well, guess what? This is how you engage them. Show them real projects that they can work on. Show them real opportunities with your firm. Give them the opportunity to work on these things. That's how you engage them. So again, we're really, really proud of the work we do with the schools. Can high school graduates who are entering college in the fall sign up? They can if they're over 18. That said, I would not suggest it. We, again, are an open platform, but what we found is the students who have the most success tend to have at least some post-secondary education sort of under their belt. So again, look, a project like Lenovo has right now, like lead generation, can someone who just wrapped up high school do something like this? Maybe, probably, but we're not sure they're going to have as great of an experience. Our suggestion is for students to wait until at least second semester of freshman year, but it's not set in stone because every student is different. By the way, the Lenovo project I was just showing you is interesting because one of the things you'll note that when they posted this project, they said it's being used to identify candidates for the sales rotational program that begins this month. Please only apply if you graduated by June and may have interest. So again, they were very transparent about what they were looking for. So that way the student knows that, oh yeah, I want to do this and I want to be in Raleigh and I'm looking for that summer internship. Yes, I'm going to apply. Try to see if there are any other questions. We will share the presentation and the recording. The costs of all postings are reviewed. We have some tools that do it. So again, by the way, if you were, sorry for the scroll, if I was adding a new project from scratch, which again, not using the templates, and I say, I think this project is going to be 20 hours and I'm going to pay $50, you'll notice you get this bar saying that doesn't seem like a fair amount. Now, you can still go ahead and post it. If you do, you will get a follow-up directly from us saying, hey, that doesn't seem fair. Now, every now and then we'll have a company say, yeah, but we normally don't pay our interns anything. They're lucky to get $50 for 20 hours of work. Our response is we're not the right place and we turn off that posting. This is not about take advantage of college kids. Now, we're not asking you to pay them $100 an hour. What we found is the average that summer interns make per hour is $20 according to NACE. So our suggestion is, again, a 20-hour project, a fair price, $400. Again, maybe you put in $350, maybe you put in $500. All of that is great, as long as the student isn't being taken advantage of. Is the student strictly for college students or unemployed adults eligible? Again, we use the term career launcher. The way we define it is really anyone just beginning their professional career in this particular field. So when we talk about unemployed adults, I want to make sure I'm understanding exactly what's being asked. So I'll try to hit on it. For someone that may have fallen out of the workforce for whatever reasons and has been reskilled in Salesforce administration and is looking to essentially relaunch their career, great, we welcome them with open arms. And in fact, we've done some interesting programs with workforce development boards around the country. But for someone with 10 or 20 years of experience as a marketing professional that may have gotten caught in COVID-related layoffs or anything else, the reality, and they're looking for that next marketing role, the reality is we're probably not the right fit. They're certainly welcome to sign up and apply, but the concept for someone sort of who's in that situation of doing an SEO analysis that's going to take them 20 hours and they're going to make 400, they may not find that the best use of time or resource of theirs. So I just want to make sure I'm being very transparent about that. What we also do see a lot of is individuals who may have graduated college 1, 2, 3 years ago. And again, maybe they got caught in COVID-related layoffs. Maybe they took the full-time role and they're not sure it's the right fit. Well, we see them very, very actively engaged in the platform as they're still doing that career exploration phase. Any other questions? Kristen, Brian, anything I missed?
I don't think anything on my side, Jeffrey. Like Jeffrey said, we'll send out the PowerPoints and the presentation to everybody. If you have questions, feel free to reach out directly to Jeffrey or myself. I'm happy to set up an individual session with you to kind of go into more details if you have more, detailed questions as far as how things work for your organization, for sure.
Yeah. And I'll leave with 2 takeaways. Again, first of all, think about all those we should and I shouldn't projects you have. Post them. Visit the Bank Talent site. Take a look at those or anything else. Post the project. See how it works. Really easy. Again, great way to get that support. You can put it on your corporate card. There's no 1099 or temp to perm, making it really, really easy, even for organizations in financial services. And the second thing is, think about some of those corporate initiatives you have. Think about the efforts, whether it's around diversity, equity, and inclusion, whether it's, yeah, we know we're going to have to fill a whole bunch of full-time roles next year. And we want to get a head start on building our brand on campus or building our pipeline for next year. What a great opportunity to do a small program. What a great opportunity to sort of reach those specific student populations you're trying to reach, or anything else. We saw a question about if it's okay to put a link on our careers webpage. 100% yes. Again, similar to the examples I showed you with Northrop Grumman and Xylem and Lenovo, they also include that on the careers page. Now, in those cases, those are students who are already interested in Northrop Grumman, who are visiting the Northrop Grumman page, can see that micro-internships are yet another way to get to know the firm. But where Northrop Grumman gets very, very excited is about this. The fact that the students who aren't thinking about Northrop Grumman already, the students who have preconceived notions about what it means to work at Lenovo, or recognize the name BMO, but don't realize all of the roles in finance or IT or accounting or anything else, they get excited about this because it's that way to reach and engage students who might not otherwise be applying. So again, think about individual projects and then also think about some of those other initiatives. Think about ways to, again, reach students at schools that maybe you can't visit, or because again, it's just not geographic proximity, or you don't have a 500-person campus recruiting team like some other companies do. Well, here's a way to level the playing field and reach those students, or some of the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Again, what a great way to create those equitable pathways. And we're, of course, these are just some examples. We're, of course, happy to work with you on any of those. With that, I don't see any more questions. I'm going to wrap up the webinar. As Brian said, please let me or him or anyone else know if you have questions. We'll share the recording afterwards. I know Kristen shared the link to the BankTalentHQ portal. We'll send slides around, etc. But again, please let me or anyone else know if you have questions. And thanks so much for sharing some of your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.